What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Mountain West Insider Podcast here on the Field of 68 Media Network. My name is Rob Doster. We have a good episode today. I was able to catch up with Kenan Blackshear from Nevada, who is averaging 19 points, 5 boards, and 4 assists for a team that is currently sitting at 3-0 with a win over Washington in Seattle, where Kenan went for a cool 31-6-6. That is not a bad performance at all, if you ask me. And it was a big win for the Mountain West overall, because this past weekend, as we discussed in the last episode, there were 3 games that you really needed to pay attention to. Nevada heading to Washington, San Diego State heading to BYU, and Mexico heading to St. Mary's. Unfortunately, San Diego State and New Mexico lost both of those games. Now, we're going to start with New Mexico here because I think the conversation is a little bit more clear-cut. The Lobos are playing without Jalen House. He's got a hip injury. He's hopefully going to be back next week for their MTE, but that is not 100% guaranteed. Hip injuries can be a little bit annoying and a little bit of a nuisance and a little bit nagging. So it's better to let him get healthy now in the hopes that he will be ready to go by the end of the season, or just kind of force it early at this point. But, I mean, if you don't have your best player, if you don't have a guy that averages 17 points and 5 assists for you last year, if you don't have a preseason all-conference guy, and you're built around being a team that basically has 2 guards you can't say in front of and a couple guys around them, you know, it is what it is. Sometimes you're going to lose the games on the road against top 25 competition. That's how these things go. So I'm not super concerned with that. I still think that this New Mexico team is very, very good. I think that they are going to be good enough to be able to put together a resume that is going to be in the mix for an NCAA tournament bid. And I don't hate the call that our John Fanta had, where he said that New Mexico can be a Final Four team. We'll see if that ends up coming to fruition. It's probably more likely that it doesn't than it does. But when you have a team with as many good guards as New Mexico has, anything can happen when you get to the month of March. Just ask FAU, who, ironically enough, Kenan Blackshear transferred out of to enroll at Nevada before the 21-22 season. As far as San Diego State is concerned, I was a little bit more worried about that performance. But I think more than anything, it's just a sign that when you lose the amount of veteran experience that you lost when you're San Diego State after last year, it takes a little bit of time to kind of get back to what you were, right? They need to develop Reese Dixon Waters. They need to get him to be a go-to guy. Lamont Butler's got to step up and be a little bit more of a focal point offensively, I believe. And they need to kind of figure out what they're going to be defensively when they don't have Nathan Mensah around the bucket, being able to erase everything and being able to take away even the concept of a pick and roll. So there's some kinks that they have to work through there, but I think if we've learned anything is that you just trust in Dutch, right? Like, he is going to find a way to figure this thing out. And while it looks a little alarming because it is a loss on the road to an unranked team, as a team that is coming off of a Final Four run, when things are all said and done, that's probably going to end up being a quad 1 win, right? At the very least, it's going to end up, a quad 1 loss. At the very least, that's probably going to end up being a quad 2 loss. You could say the same thing about New Mexico losing at St. Mary's. Like, that's a free hit. It doesn't matter. It probably helps your computer numbers simply playing that game, right? And especially when you factor in the fact that Jalen House was not available, like, you can even just kind of write that one off. Like, the committee it'll be one of those things where it means, as a quad 1 loss, they didn't have their best player. It is what it is. Same thing with heading to BYU. One thing we've seen about the Big 12 year over year over year is that their computer numbers look fantastic, and playing on the road against a team from the Big 12 is going to help your computer numbers. They didn't get blown out. They lost by 9. So I don't want to necessarily say it was a free hit, because it kind of means, at least from my perspective, you got to change your expectations of what San Diego State will be, at least in the near term. But it's not something that is going to torpedo a season. I think San Diego State is going to very much be in the race to earn an at-large bid when things are all said and done. I think that New Mexico will probably be in and around that bubble conversation at minimum when things are all said and done. And I still think we're in a situation where you can get 4, maybe even 5 teams out of the Mountain West into the NCAA tournament. So this idea that you got to start freaking out about things that are happening in this conference, it's 10 days into the season, guys. 10 days. Let's at least give it a month before we start having a complete panic attack about the way things are going. All right. So before we get into this interview with Kenan, just a couple of games that you probably want to keep an eye on, and teams and events you want to keep an eye on if you are a fan of Mountain West basketball. Wyoming will be playing in the Myrtle Beach Invitational this week. Charleston's down there. St. Louis is down there. San Jose State is heading out to the Paradise Jam to play. San Diego State will be playing in the Continental Tire main event, which is a 4-team MTE that includes Xavier, Washington, and St. Mary's out in Las Vegas. Another chance to get a borderline top 20 to top 25 win there for San Diego State. And I think the big one you got to keep an eye on is on Sunday afternoon, Boise State is making the trip to Little John Coliseum to take on Clemson, a Clemson team that I think is probably going to finish top 4 in the ACC, a Clemson team that I think has a very real chance to be a threat to make a lot of noise in college basketball this season. So I think that's a big one. I think that's a big opportunity for Boise State to prove who they are. I think that's a big opportunity to land what could very well be a marquee win for them this season. But once you get into next week, that's when you start getting into feast week. That's when you start seeing things like the Maui and the ESPN Events Invitational and a lot of these events that go over Thanksgiving that are going to be big to be able to kind of stockpile a lot of big wins for a lot of teams in the Mountain West. So once things kind of settle out, shake out there, we'll have another episode for you. Hopefully before Thanksgiving. I think we'll probably knock something out before Thanksgiving so that we don't have to sit here and record when I am trying to drink my whiskey and eat my turkey in solitude. So until then, make sure you like, make sure you rate, make sure you review, make sure you subscribe, make sure you interact, make sure you engage, make sure you do all of those things that make me happy as a podcaster, and enjoy this interview with Kenan Blackshear, who has been the breakout star of the Mountain West Conference so far this season. And now let me welcome on to the Mountain West Insider podcast, a fifth-year senior, a graduate student, and an Orlando native that is averaging 19 points, 5.3 boards, and 4 assists for the 3-0 Nevada Wolfpack. That is Kenan Blackshear. What is going on, Kenan? How we doing, man? Thanks for being here.
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me here.
So 3-0 start to the season. Can't really ask for much more than that. You go on the road. You win at Washington. Not a bad result to start off the year. Does it feel good? You know, you guys lost some talent in the offseason. Does it feel good to kind of get off to this quick start this season?
Me personally, I knew we was gonna be fine. We have a culture here that's more just like united this year and just more just together. So I knew in the offseason, I was like, yo, like we're really deep and like playing pickup with guys was like, yo, this is competitive and I can't wait to see how this meshes together and all the lineups and all the personalities and game styles like mixing together. Like I was just so excited for that in the summer. And I seen like what we can do and how hard we was working in the summer to now. So it wasn't really a surprise.
So you're a fifth-year guy in your third season at Nevada. What did you do differently in the off season? What did you do differently when you were having some of those captain's practices over the summer? How did you guys get to this point where, as you said, you have a culture that's a little bit better this year?
Well, it really started at the NCAA tournament for me. I think I took 4 days off, like to really just clear my head and stuff like that, and get back to just relaxing, just decompressing from the season from last year. And I really just got right back to it. And then I went to Orlando, and then I had myself on a schedule, like a very tight schedule, just waking up, running, working out, and then probably eating, sleeping, working out again, and then running at night. Like I was like so like locked in to just being in shape, being in the best shape, and just really just growing my IQ really, because I feel like IQ is a big thing. And yeah, and then practice, Coach Alford just pushes me to be the best player and just be like vocal, a leader, just a person that the young guys look up to. So yeah, with all that going on, I gotta be good.
When you look back at last season, right, I think it's inarguable that you guys had a good year, right? You made the NCAA tournament and you won a lot of games, but the way that it ended was not what you want. I'm sure what you wanted to have the end of the season be. You lost last to the regular season, got knocked out first round of the Mountain West tournament and the playing game in the NCAA tournament. How
Yes.
how did that motivate you guys? You said you took 4 days off to kind of decompress. Like how did you use the way that last year ended to kind of drive you moving forward?
Me personally, in that 4 days, I didn't watch the film because I watched the film over every game that I played uh so far. So I didn't watch the film till like the beginning of this season to get motivation and just like see like, like you was at this point and like I got 2 quick early fouls and I really didn't play in the NCAA tournament. That's how I explain it to my that's how I tell the story because like by the time I get back in, like we're down 20 or like 15 to a good Arizona State team and that just left a bad taste in my mouth really. Like I'm very competitive and everybody in this program is very competitive and just to see like that happen on a big stage like that, I didn't take that well. So I just used that as motivation just for this season.
And you took it out on Washington. You had 31.6 boards and 6 assists against them. You've obviously had a great individual start to the season, but some of your other guys, Nick Davidson, Jared Lucas, has looked good so far this year. Who's kind of surprised you? Who's at the from other guys on the roster? Like who you've been like, oh wow, I didn't know he had that in his bag.
You see it a lot in summer, but really, I told Nick Davidson in the spring where we had spring workouts and stuff after the season, I was like, yo, like, you ready for a big season? Because, like, I feel like me personally, just looking at you and, like, I know how much Nick works and things of that nature. I was like, yo, like, you're going to be a breakout player. Like, you're good and, like, you can play professionally. I believe he can play professional because he has the IQ, he has the length, he has the versatility. He can shoot, he can just do a lot of things and he's smart. So, like, playing with a player like that, I just try to instill confidence in him because like you're stepping into a new role and then sometimes people have shaky feet, but I just try to like instill confidence in like all my teammates really and just tell them like, yo, go out there and like do what you're working on. What I see you working on at 8 a.m. in the morning. So yeah.
You transferred from FAU.
Yes.
FAU last season played San Diego State in the Final Four. Is it knowing how close you are to the two teams that kind of made that run, right? You play in the same league as San Diego State. You used to play on the same program that San Diego State beat in the Final Four. Is that something that kind of give you confidence? Like, look, we can do this. You know, we might have had a rough end of the year last year, but we can make this run.
I feel as if we're just focused on going 1-0 every game. And we're focused on our preparation and the whole talk over the summer has just been Heat culture and how the Heat play basketball and carry themselves and how professional they are and how they just go hard and just play for each other. That's what we're trying to create here in Nevada. And I feel as if we have done that these past 3 games really. And yeah, we can only grow and everybody's missing shots right now. So we're not shooting the best as a team right now, but I know it's going to be a breakthrough. And then once the shot starts falling, our defense connectivity keeps ramping up because I feel like our defense is what's good right now, how physical we are. I feel as if we're going to be a monster going on.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you're not making shots and you're sitting here putting up 80 points in 3 straight games and sitting here at 3-0, that's not a bad thing to be doing right now. Did you play with any of the guys that were on the team last year at FAU? Do you still know any of them?
Yeah, I played with Elijah Martin, Nick Boyd, Janelle, Nelly, as we call him, Gian. Yeah, I still talk to him to this day. I just literally talked to Nick Boyd today, just basically telling him like, yo, I love what y'all did versus like Eastern Michigan. I watched the game and I was like, yo, like I'm loving what I'm seeing because like being there during that time, I was 1 year older than him and we all worked at FAU. Like it's a working culture over there. I just tip my hat to them. I love what they're doing over there. Really.
Was it fun to see them make that run? And did you see that coming? Like, did you kind of know the framework was there? Because I think that caught me by surprise, seeing them go from being what they were to being like that good, to being 35-3, Final Four good. I didn't think that was what was in the cards for them.
I always felt it was good. Really, I always tell people like Coach Dusty May. He's a great coach. He's a person who tells the truth to you, regardless of who you are or how you feeling, and he pushes you to be better. And he's the person who taught me how to watch film. Really, taught me how to watch film, things to look at, just like little things to just notice during the game. And I'm forever thankful for that. And I know how much he just puts into like having unselfish players, and unselfish play in basketball really leads to success, because once there's no egos on the team, and once it doesn't matter if I have 12 or 25 or 2 points, the team is unstoppable, really, if everybody's just on the same mission. So I really just love their culture over there too.
You come from a basketball family, right? Your brother played for Buzz Williams at Virginia Tech, Kerry Blackshear.
Yeah.
I loved his the team his last season there with Justin Robinson and some of the point guards they had. So I got to ask you, yeah, they should have. You know the question I'm going to ask you, right? You play him right now. Who's winning one-on-one?
Me personally, I think it's just like I was always a one-on-one type of player. Like I used to really, as a young kid, I used to rather play one-on-one or play like 2-on-2, something like that. Just play pickup rather than work out. Now that I got older, I really love working out. But yeah, I don't think he can mess with me in ones. That's something he can't do.
If I asked him that same question, would he get the same answer?
He will have to get the same answer. He will have to.
So you're from Orlando and you went to FAU out of high school. How did you end up in Reno? How did you make it to Nevada? What's the story on that recruitment?
It's low-key a crazy story. Not being like my brother, my sister, they was like highly recruited out of high school. I was just the kid who was just like mid-level, like not all that good, but I really had to like look deep inside and like work for what like I got now. So like coming out of high school, I didn't have a lot of offers. Went to FAU, didn't really play my first year like that, but I started some and took the opportunity because some vets got hurt, so I had to step up, and that helped me. And then the next summer, got better. I feel like that was the best summer of my life. My freshman year going into my sophomore year, and then after that, jumped in the transfer portal. My first year here at Reno was rocky because the team we had Grant Sherfield, Des Cambridge, Warren Washington, Will Baker. Just on paper, that just looks crazy, and we didn't succeed. And then last year we had a good year, and then to now. So it's been a road. It's definitely been a tough road to get to now.
Was it an adjustment for you moving to Pacific time? Because every time I'm out there, I can never keep track of what time it is.
Yeah, it's definitely a headache. Yeah, just meeting a new culture of people. Basically, being in Florida my whole life, essentially. That's crazy. The time difference is crazy. The people is crazy. Yeah, it's different. It's very different, but yeah.
Are you a big Disneyland guy, being from Orlando?
I never went to Disneyland in my life.
You've never been to Disneyland once?
Never. Universal, yeah.
Why Universal over Disney?
Universal is a great, like, I feel like it's more mature. It has way better rides, and also you can go on a date there. It's always fun. It's always fun.
Disney's a little for maybe a younger crowd than where you are right now. What's your favorite? Are you a roller coaster guy?
Yeah, I can be. Sometimes.
It sounds pain saying that, man. You had a bad experience on a roller coaster?
I lost my slide one time. I had some slides on it and it flew off, and I walked around the park with one slide on. So that's a dark memory.
What did you do? You just spent the whole day wearing one slide?
I left right after that. I was so mad. I remember it. I was so mad. I was like, yeah, I can't do this no more. I had to just go home.
Do you know the history of Steve Alford? Like, were you aware of who he was when you committed there?
Uh, no, not really. But I used to I used to really watch those UCLA teams with Kyle Anderson. Kyle Anderson was one of my favorite players uh, growing up. I was like, yo, like a 6'9" point guard, like that is crazy. Like, and just to think, like now I have the coach that coached them and just led them through those things. So he tells me things about that. Him having Lonzo Ball, he tells me things about that also. And he just really just like take what he sees from them and just like integrate it into our team and stuff like that. And he's a great coach. He's I feel like he changed my life like for a good cause. Like he brought this competitive nature out of me like that I didn't know I had. And well, I was always competitive, but he brought it to like forefront, like mental toughness, being able
Well,
to
he
just
said you love working out now. Like,
yeah,
it changed your mindset. Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. When he was a player, man, he was back in the
I
day.
heard
He
he
was.
was a dog.
Oh yeah, like he was. Steve Alford was he was a big deal. He was a big deal back in the 80s. He was he was a big deal. Does he still challenge you guys to shooting contests? Because I got to
Oh,
imagine someone with his kind of pedigree would.
he's competitive. He's like that type of competitiveness. Like you can't turn it off. And yeah, he'll challenge you to anything. Trash can ball. What else? Tennis. What track? If he could do it, he think he can win at everything. So you gotta love a coach like that who's just so competitive like that.
Yeah, and it fits with the new Kenan Blackshear, huh?
Yeah, fits with
Are you beating him in the shooting contest though?
uh yeah, he always try to take me to free throw shooting contests and stuff like that.
Oh, he doesn't want that. He can't reach from the 3-point line anymore, huh?
Yeah, he getting old. He's getting real old.
well, listen, man. I appreciate you jumping on the Mountain West Insider podcast. It's good to catch up with you. Best of luck this season. I need more of these 31-6-6 games out of you. All right.
I got you. I got you.
Thanks, man.
Thank you so much.